Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into what is honestly a massive, existential shift happening right now in how we interact with computers. For the last 30 years, software development has fundamentally looked pretty much the exact same. It meant human beings staring at complex environments, pulling their hair out over a missing semicolon, and writing tedious, repetitive boiler code just to get a basic app off the ground. But we are rapidly, and I mean rapidly, moving away from that era of traditional software engineering. We're entering a completely new paradigm. This isn't just some minor update to a favorite app or a slick new feature, it's the fundamental industrialization of software development itself. Back in February 2026, tech writer Paul Ford published an opinion piece in the New York Times that sent absolute shockwaves through the industry. He boldly declared exactly what you see here. The AI disruption has arrived. He noted that AI agents are now allowing individuals to output hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of software value through a completely new, intent-driven process that he and the broader community dubbed vibe coding. And the craziest part? This wasn't some wild prediction about a distant sci-fi future. It was a stark observation of our present reality. The software industry has fundamentally changed overnight. And to navigate the next few years, we really need to understand exactly what this means. So what does this all actually mean? Let's dive right into this idea of vibe coding. At its core, it's a workflow where developers, or honestly anyone with a solid idea and basic logic skills, provide the high-level intent, while AI agents handle the actual execution, the complex syntax, and the underlying infrastructure. Think about the historical difference between syntax and intent for a second. Syntax is memorizing the specific grammar of Python, Rust, or JavaScript, right? Knowing exactly where to place every single bracket and command. But intent? Intent is simply speaking in plain English about what you want the system to do. We are moving toward pure intent-based generation. You just describe the system, set the parameters of what you want to achieve, and the artificial intelligence builds the nuts and bolts underneath to bring that exact intent to life. That brings us to Section 1, Google's full-stack AI Studio, and how they're delivering frictionless development at zero cost. To really grasp why tech giants are racing toward this frictionless model, you have to understand the sheer scale of output a single person can achieve in this new era. Take a look at this totally staggering individual productivity metric. Boris Cherny, who created Claude Code, reported using his own tool combined with the Opus 4.5 model to author 259 pull requests in just a single 30-day period. Now, for anyone who hasn't worked in a software development cycle, a pull request is essentially a package of new code or a bug fix submitted to be merged into a main project. Producing 259 of those in a month equates to roughly 8 or 9 major fully functional code integrations every single day without taking any breaks. That number is completely unfathomable for one human being typing manually. It just perfectly highlights the immense leverage these AI agents provide. And Google is leaning heavily into this exact kind of leverage. At Google I/O in May 2026, they announced a massive integration between AI Studio and Google Cloud that makes full-stack deployment utterly frictionless. Let's walk through it. Step 1, you just prompt your intent. Tell it you want a user dashboard that tracks fitness goals. Easy enough, right? Step 2, the AI agent automatically infers the architecture. It decides on its own if you need a non-relational database like Firestore for quick document storage or a relational one like Cloud SQL for complex data sorting, based entirely on what you just asked for. And step 3, it auto-deploys to Cloud Run with Firebase authentication already baked right in. But honestly, the wildest part of this entire pipeline? Google allows you to deploy up to 2 of these full-stack applications at absolutely no cost. You don't even need a credit card or a Google Cloud account to get started. The barrier to entry has literally been eradicated. Moving on to Section 2, the secret engine behind agents. Let's demystify the magic a bit. Okay, so let's pivot from that front-end user experience to the incredibly complex technology making it all happen. It is super easy to think there's just some magical superbrain doing this coding for us. But thanks to an unprecedented industry leak, we actually know exactly how the sausage is made. Anthropic accidentally exposed Claude Code's entire TypeScript source code. We're talking around 1,900 files and over 500,000 lines of code through a misconfigured NPM package file. When developers furiously analyzed this leak, they discovered something fascinating. A coding agent's true power doesn't just come from the raw language model itself, it comes from a highly sophisticated software harness. The system pulls live repository context, meaning it constantly reads and understands your entire existing codebase. It aggressively reuses prompt caches to save massive amounts of compute time and money. And it runs parallelized subagents. That means it isn't just doing one task at a time. It literally spins up a whole team of virtual assistants to solve different parts of a complex problem simultaneously. That rigorous, incredibly smart engineering structure is the real secret engine making vibe coding possible.
Which leads us to Section 3, the Enterprise Automation War. We are scaling up from individual developers to global corporations.
Now, let's contrast these two concepts to really understand where the broader economy is heading. Concept 1 is AI-assisted software development, basically tools helping coders write functions faster. That's a great business, for sure. But Concept 2 is enterprise process automation. And my friends, this is where the tectonic plates are truly shifting. So why are tech giants pivoting so aggressively toward Concept 2? Because the market for general enterprise automation is roughly 10 times larger than the market for just developer tools. The big players have realized that if an AI agent is smart enough to build a custom web app from scratch, it's absolutely smart enough to completely automate the massive sprawling internal processes of a Fortune 500 company. Instead of just helping a coder write a login page, the AI can entirely automate a multinational corporation's HR onboarding process, from generating tax forms to provisioning IT accounts, from start to finish, driven by a single manager's simple intent.
You can see this playing out with major players aggressively sprinting toward this massive, cross-functional market all at the same time. In 2026, OpenAI rapidly launched new features in Codex like Sites, which literally empowers non-technical managers to generate internal web apps for their businesses on the fly. In response to that, Anthropic decisively shifted its Code with Claude platform away from just being developer first, moving it toward broad, cross-functional corporate automation. And the legacy consulting giants? Oh, they're jumping in with massive capital. Accenture recently invested heavily in the platform Replit, specifically to take this exact concept of enterprise vibe coding and scale it across their massive, non-technical Fortune 500 client base. It is a full-on automation war.
And finally, Section 4, SpaceX and the $60 billion bet, the macroeconomic shockwave. $60 billion. Take a second to just really absorb that number. That is the jaw-dropping financial figure associated with SpaceX's acquisition of the AI coding startup Cursor. This was a bombshell deal revealed right on the heels of SpaceX's monumental NASDAQ debut. And look, this isn't just an acquisition of a hot tech tool. It is a massive macroeconomic shockwave. When a newly public aerospace and engineering titan drops $60 billion on a coding platform, it is an unparalleled, world-shifting bet on the future of how software is going to be built, maintained, and scaled globally. Let's be absolutely clear about something. This massive $60 billion acquisition isn't so that SpaceX developers can have a slightly better autocomplete when they type out manual syntax. No way. It is the complete and total industrialization of software development. The stated goal here is to eliminate the concept of human beings writing code entirely. As industry analysts have noted, the vision is that you simply describe the complex system, lay out the infrastructure requirements, define the edge cases in plain English, and the agent, which in Cursor's case will soon be backed by xAI's massive Colossus 2 supercomputer, just generates the compiled binary directly. It's pure, unadulterated intent, translated instantly into flawless execution without a human ever touching a bracket or a string of text.
But there's another side to this economic coin, $730 billion. That is the colossal amount of market value wiped out and lost by vertical SaaS stocks, software as a service companies in the early months of 2026 alone. Why such a brutal sell-off? Because institutional investors are utterly terrified. They're looking at the realities of vibe coding and realizing something huge. If any business, regardless of its size, can generate highly customized software, internal dashboards, and automation tools simply by talking to an AI agent for a few pennies in compute costs, then the expensive, rigid, off-the-shelf software subscriptions they currently pay for are incredibly vulnerable. Custom vibe-coded software is instant and tailored to a company's exact quirks. Suddenly, generic SaaS is looking an awful lot like a relic of the past. If this technology can turn a grueling 40-hour development week into a breezy 10-hour week, giving us time back to spend with our families, or allowing us to focus on a higher-level creative architecture, well, that is an absolute miracle of modern computing. But as one prominent developer recently pointed out, it also feels a bit like an existential trap. Every single time we hit the tab key to accept an AI's brilliant code suggestion, we are feeding it, or refining it, or making it less reliant on us. So we have to ask ourselves, are we simply eliminating the tedious busy work of the digital age, or are we engineering ourselves entirely out of the loop? It's a huge question, and one we'll be figuring out together over the next few years. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.